Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session with Beyond the Classroom. In today's session, we are going to be looking at the third chapter of geography, drainage. Now, let's look at the topics we're going to cover here. We're going to look at the drainage systems in India, the Himalayan rivers, the peninsular rivers, lakes, the role of rivers in our economy, and river pollution. That's a lot of topics to cover, so we are splitting this chapter up into two parts. The first part, which is what you're watching right now, is the one we're going to cover drainage systems in India and the Himalayan rivers, our first two topics. In our second part, we will cover the four remaining topics. So, if we're going to talk about drainage, we need to first know what drainage actually is. So, as you can see here, drainage describes the river system of an area. Now, what's a river system? As you can see, a river along its tributaries may be called a river system. So we have small streams that flow from different directions. They come together to form a main river. This main river ultimately drains to a large water body, such as a lake, a sea, or sometimes an ocean. We'll see some examples of this later. And the area where this river actually drains is known as a drainage basin. These drainage basins are separated by elevated areas like mountains or uplands. These kinds of uplands are known as water divides. These drainage systems are mostly affected by the relief features of the subcontinent. We can see this in their place of origin, as based on this place of origin, they're divided into two major groups, the Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. So one obvious difference between them is that the Himalayan rivers originate in the Himalayas, while the peninsular rivers originate in the peninsula. But other than that, they have many other differences. Let's look at some of them. Now here, we have a table of differences between the Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. Let's look at some of these differences. The first one is that the Himalayan rivers are mostly perennial. What does perennial mean? It means that throughout the year, they have water. The reason the Himalayan waters have water throughout the year is because they have multiple sources. They have rain as well as snow from the Himalayas. But peninsular rivers do not get water from the mountains, so they are only dependent on rainfall. And if there's no rainfall, the rivers will dry up. So this means that the peninsular rivers are seasonal. Now, the next difference is in the length of their courses. The Himalayan rivers have a long course, which from the source to the sea, and they have many tributaries, large and important ones. And the peninsular rivers, they have shorter and shallower courses as compared to their Himalayan counterparts. This is because the peninsular rivers are closer to the water bodies. In addition, although it's not given here, the tributaries of the peninsular rivers are mostly shorter than that of the Himalayan rivers. Now, what are the main Himalayan rivers? They are the Indus, Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. And there are multiple peninsular rivers, but the main biggest ones are the Narmada, Tapi, Godavari, Mahanadi, Krishna, and Kaveri. There are some smaller ones like the Damodar, Brahmani, Baitarni, and the Subandeka, but they are not as big and they're not as important. So, the two major Himalayan rivers are the Indus and the Brahmaputra. They originate from the northern mountain ranges and and they cut through the mountains, making gorges. And they also, in their upper courses, perform intense erosional activity. But in the middle and lower courses, they have gentle slopes, so they form meanders, oxbow lakes, and other features. The peninsula rivers originate in the Western Ghats, and most of them, as we'll see, flow towards the Bay of Bengal, and that's where they ultimately drain. So, some of them originate in the Central Highlands, though, and they flow towards the west instead. The main ones are the Narmada and the Tapi. The Himalayan rivers have well-developed deltas. Like, there's an obvious example in the Sundarban Delta, formed by the Ganga and the Brahmaputra. As a lot of you know, it is the largest delta in the world. We'll talk about that in more detail later. The peninsular rivers also make deltas, but these are not as big and these are formed at the mouths of the rivers. Some other points about peninsular rivers are that they have water divides, of course, and these water divides are mainly formed by the Western Ghats. And also, the Himalayan rivers have much larger drainage basins than peninsular ones, and the Himalayan rivers are longer than the peninsular rivers as well. Now that we know what sets these two groups of rivers apart, we can start talking about each of these rivers in more detail. We're going to start off with the Himalayan rivers, which are the longer and the deeper ones. So there are three main Himalayan rivers I need to know. They're the Indus, Ganga, and Brahmaputra. Let's look at each of them in some more detail, starting with the Indus River system. The Indus River does not actually originate in India, as the name might suggest. It rises in Tibet, near Lake Mansarovar. From here, it flows west, and it does eventually enter India through the Ladakh district of Jammu and Kashmir. It forms a picturesque gorge in this part, which is a famous tourist attraction of Ladakh. In this Kashmir area, it has several tributaries that join it. These are the Zaskar, Nubra, Shok, and Hunza. From here, the Indus flows through Baltistan and Gilgit, and eventually emerges from the mountains at Attock. The Indus eventually reaches Mithankot in Pakistan, where it is joined by five main tributaries: the Satluj, the Beas, the Ravi, the Chenab, and the Jhelum. Beyond this, the Indus flows southwards, and it reaches the east of Karachi, and it eventually drains into the Arabian Sea. The Indus, throughout its course, has a very gentle slope, and the length of this course is 2,900 kilometers. This makes the Indus one of the longest rivers in the world. Now, only a third of the Indus Basin actually lies in India, covering the states of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and Punjab. The remaining part of this basin is in Pakistan. Next, we come to the Ganga River system. The headwaters of the Ganga are known as the Bhagirathi, and they are fed by the Gangotri Glacier. So that is where the river Ganga gets its name from. The river Ganga is eventually formed when this Bhagirathi is joined by the Alaknanda. This happens at Devprayag in Uttarakhand. At Haridwar, the Ganga emerges from the mountains and reaches the plains. It has many Himalayan tributaries. A few of them are actually major rivers, like the Yamuna, which is its main tributary, the Ghagra, the Gandak, and the Kosi. Like I said earlier, the river Yamuna is the Ganga's main tributary. Its origin is in the Himalayas, like I said, in the Yamunotri Glacier. So this river also gains its name from a river. It flows parallel to the Ganga for some time, and then at Allahabad, it eventually meets the Ganga at a right bank tributary. And the Ghagra, Gandak, and Kosi are its other Himalayan tributaries, and they rise in the Nepal Himalayas. If you watched our video in the previous chapter about the physical features of India, then you know the Nepal Himalayas are. These rivers have their pros and their cons. They flood parts of northern plains every year, which cause widespread damage to lives as well as property. However, they also enrich the soil for agricultural use. Apart from these, the Ganga also has some tributaries which come from the peninsula. These are the Chambal, Betwa, and Son. As you expect, these rivers have shorter courses and less water. We have already discussed why. And and the Ganga gains water from all these tributaries, and it eventually flows till its northernmost point, Farakka in West Bengal. And over here, there's a bifurcation between the main river and a distributary known as the Bhagirathi Hooghly. This Bhagirathi Hooghly flows towards the Bay of Bengal, where it eventually drains. Meanwhile, the mainstream reaches Bangladesh, where it is joined by Brahmaputra. It goes further downstream and is known as the Meghna. And this is where the Sundarban Delta is formed by the Ganga and the Brahmaputra rivers. Its got named from Sundari tree. It's known for growing well in this marshland. And like I said, is the world's largest delta and is still growing very fast. The Sundarban Delta is also the home of one of India's most famous animals, the Royal Bengal tiger. The Ganga is slightly shorter than the Indus at around 2,500 kilometers. Between these two river systems, we have the water divide of Ambala. So basically, Ambala is a highland which separates these two river systems. And the plains from here to the Sundarban stretch over nearly 1,800 kilometers, but it does not have too much fall in the slope, only around 300 meters. So you do the math, that'll be a fall of 1 meter for every 6 kilometers. With such a less slope, the river develops large meanders. Now we come to the third and final Himalayan river, the Brahmaputra. The Brahmaputra actually rises in almost the same place as the Indus and Satluj, Tibet, east of Mansarovar. It is the longest Himalayan river as it is slightly longer than the Indus. And just like the Indus, most of its coast lies outside India. It flows parallel to the Himalayas and it reaches the Namcha Barwa, which is a mountain which is located in the Himadri range of the Himalayas. Over here, it takes a U-turn and through a gorge enters India through Arunachal Pradesh. In this place is known as Dihang and its tributaries are Dibang and the Lohit. It has other smaller tributaries and these come together to form the Brahmaputra in Assam. The Brahmaputra has many different names. I already told you that it's known as the Dihang in Arunachal Pradesh. However, it has two other names, the Sangpo in Tibet and the Jamuna in Bangladesh. So the Sangpo River, which is what it is called in Tibet, it carries a smaller volume of water and less silt. This is a cold and dry area, so this could probably explain why. However, once it enters India, it passes through a region of high rainfall, which gives it a lot of water and a lot of silt. The Brahmaputra forms many riverine islands in India. The Brahmaputra does cause some problems though. Every rainy season, the river gets more water than it can contain, so it overflows its banks. So this causes floods in Assam and Bangladesh. And as you expect, these floods cause a lot of widespread devastation. The difference between the Brahmaputra and other North Indian rivers is that the Brahmaputra is marked by the silt deposits on its bed. This causes the riverbed to rise, and the river also shifts its channel frequently. So this brings us to the end of today's discussion. If you liked this session, please like this video and comment in the comment section below. Also, share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.